we will proceed now with today's session. We haven't had Zoom for quite a long time. And for that, as to reasons as to why we did not have these Zooms, it may be because, and it was because we were so busy with the ES program. Okay, so welcome to week 14. This is week 14 for in-service. While pre-service, we are now rounding up week 16. And that is also one reason why I didn't come early, because I was busy marking exams. This week is week 14, and we should at least have done a lot of, or submitted most of our assessment tasks. This session will focus, basically remind people on assessment tasks that are way overdue, as well as to remind us of our timing, that we only have 2 more weeks before we call off this year's academic year. So I will briefly go through submissions of assessment tasks that I have collected and I have with me at the moment, and remind people not on who did not submit, but as you listen, you will know where you are, your status of participation in this course. For assessment task 1, which is a 40% assessment, it is an essay and words 40%. To date, we only have 20 submissions so far. We have a registered number of students, around 47 students altogether. We only have 20 people who have submitted. If you did not submit anything yet, I would encourage you to work on that. For assessment task 2, which comprises of 2 parts, part A and part B, we have part A, which is basically for you to do the sounds of the English language. And to date, we have 9 submissions already. Okay, we have 9 submissions, and those people, I have personally emailed them to confirm that I have received their videos of themselves, recording themselves. We have part 2 or part B of that assessment task, which is lesson plan. And as well, it's a research report where you are to write, choose a strand, and one topic of the strand that you choose, you will have to state what it is, why it is important in the development of literacy, and how you could teach it. And part of it was for you to plan a lesson plan. For that submission, we have today, as I am speaking now, we only have 7 lesson plans submitted. Okay, some people submitted lesson plan and they did not send a recorded video of themselves. Vice versa, some people recorded themselves doing the sounds of the English language given and submitted for marking, and they did not do the lesson plan yet. But the number is very close. So if 9 people send the videos, 7 people send a lesson plan, they're very close. Maybe 1 or 2 people did not do each of the parts. Assessment task 3 has 2 parts to it. And part 1 was, they're both reflectives. One was to sort of throw a futuristic thinking into what you are expected to learn in the course, which made up part 1. That only 40 people submitted something for marking. And then we have the other part, which is part B, as to a summary of the important things you might have learned and acquired through the course. That will make up the discussion for part B. And to date, nobody submitted yet. Okay. Interestingly, I have emailed people as of this week. I have sent email and last week to individuals. As I go down to download assignments from Dropbox, I have come to realize that a few people submitted the same assignment twice. Okay, if you are all listening, you maybe one of you that is is with us now. Maybe you are not here, but go back and check your assessment task that you have submitted on Moodle, because I have come to identify a few people who have submitted the same assignment twice. And for those of you that who have received an email from Mrs. Simo, you might see that I have, in my email, I have said that you can only get even though it's submitted twice, you will only get one marked. And for the other one, you will get a 0. And I have also in that email that you are to communicate to me urgently to say whether you will redo one of those or you will allow me to give you 0. Okay, so those are some of the issues that I have come to notice as I'm going through downloading assignment from Dropbox. Forum discussions are slowly. We have a lot of people who have participated in forum discussion 1. We have about 31 people who have participated. Major topic 2, we have 16 people who have participated. And we have major topic 3, 9 people participated. For major topic 4, around 4 people, and then the number gets less and less, and yes, as time goes. Basically, I am here to remind people about assessment task and whether you have done it or did not do yet. For this group of people, it is very interesting as well for us, people who are in this cohort this time around. We tend not to communicate, and I've sent messages here and there about, where we are, what week we are on, and the topic that I'm putting up for people to engage. A lot of people are not, they're not communicating via email or discussion on the forum. Therefore, it is, I would say, it is really a question whether we really understand what we're doing, because people don't ask questions, and well, because we are all adults, I believe you understand what you are reading. And then when I get to see very limited number of assessment tasks submitted, it also puts a question whether people are struggling. I don't know. I am really in the dark. Okay, so I will stop here. This is week 14, everyone. This time, 25 November, this is week 14 for in semester. Our semester has 16 weeks. A semester has 16 weeks. So if we are week 14, that means we only have 2 weeks. And I have note down here, by the 9th of December, which will be week 16, end of week 16, 9 December, all Dropbox will be closed, because that would be the end of semester. And yes, we should be marking 2nd of December, which is week 15, next week, that is week 15. If you did not do anything yet, maybe you did not participate in the forum discussion, you did not submit any reflections yet, make sure you submit something. Do submit something if you want to get some marks, okay? It is 100% coursework, no exams. So make sure you just put extra effort and do your submit your assessment task. Interestingly, if we have 20 submissions for assessment task 1, then that means that some people, this is just for us to think about, some people who went ahead and participated in or did assessment task 3 and assessment task 2, maybe and maybe you skip assessment task 1 and went ahead and do assessment task 3 and 2. Okay, so just check yourself with those. And also, as part of assessment task 3, I will be marking forum discussions. If you participate, you will also get some mark for participating. And that I think I have highlighted or stated that those ones marks assessed forums when I put up a forum discussion space for us to discuss. Okay. If anyone wants to, I am basically here to do, this will be my last Zoom with you all. I won't do any Zoom next week and after next week. This is my last Zoom with everyone. So please ask me any question, anything to do with this course. I am willing to help if I can. But otherwise, any bigger administrative issues should be directed straight to the administration. So yes, and this week, and yes, last week and this week, we are working. I have uploaded balanced literacy major topic, and that is where all the components throughout the semester, you can see it popping up in the balanced literacy block timetable. Okay, and I believe we are not new to balanced literacy. We are all, we have heard of it. We sing it in the Teacher's Guide syllabus, the national curriculum. We have filled in and gone through all the major topics that are part of the balanced literacy. And I believe you have read and got some insights as to a little bit of the history of balanced literacy. And we have the balanced literacy block timetable where you could see all of the things that you have learned, major topics that you have learned, may have been captured in the balanced literacy block timetable. I can see some of us now that are online and are part of this Zoom that you did not submit anything at all yet. So it's not late. If you did not do 1 or 2 assessments, it's not late. If you did not do any of the 3 assessment tasks, I would say you are very late. There'll be a lot of pressure. But I do understand that as a working teacher and as a parent, you have all of those challenges that you cope with. However, as a student, we should also manage our times. Okay, enough talking, Mrs. Simo. If we have any questions from people in class, please do ask your question. If you have submitted things to Mr. Lawi or maybe one of my assessment tasks to any other people in campus, please do inform me too so that I can chase after your assessment task. Linges, are you okay up there? Not? Are you Pentecost? You all right? Any challenges? If there are challenges in regards to the delay of your assessment task, to inform and see how we can, I don't know, maybe negotiate or yes, to share your concerns or things that might have caused some delays, because I may not be aware of the circumstances or things that you may be going through. Okay, so if there are no questions, would you like me to go through a brief summary of the major topics? Any respond? Or if you're okay, then it's okay, we call it off today now, so you can go ahead and work on your assignments. Or can I have a response from anyone in the class? Or people are too scared to talk to me? Deborah, Mr. Kissel, Edwin. I've seen quite a few of your work. Nettie. Everyone's so quiet. You're all too tired already after a long year. Okay, I'll just basically run through major topic 1 to major topic 6. Since you are here, it's good to maybe you continue listen as I go through. So major topic 1 is basically introduction to literacy, where we took some time to look at the definition of literacy. And for that, we looked at the definition of literacy in our Vanuatu context. Some of the bigger institutions such as UNESCO, we also looked at the UNESCO definition. And a few of the South Pacific definition to literacy, basically we had our Pilna definition for literacy as well. So with the definitions of literacy, the UNESCO one is more current than the others, and that we are trying our very best as teachers to ensure that as we are teaching and developing literacy skills and strategies in the classroom, we can also and always refer to the definition given to us by UNESCO to guide our teaching, that we are emphasizing at least some of the verbs mentioned in the definition of literacy. We also looked at the significance of literacy under that major topic. And also interestingly, we looked at the history of literacy from our oral history to the establishment of mission schools to the condominium setting that was part of our history up to the current one, which is the balanced literacy with a mixture of ADEMAP slow, and the Chandra-based approach. And we also looked at the critical literacy with other literacies that were mentioned, such as the critical literacy in social domains, critical literacy in economics, critical literacy in politics. Yeah, those are some of the critical literacies under major subtopic D. And for major topic 2, we looked at oral language development and the essential components for literacy development as well. So that was one of that helped us with one of our assessment tasks, which was to do or to practice and to be able to learn that the English language has 44 sounds altogether, and we were given support materials to help us being able to produce those sounds. So it emphasizes the importance of allowing oral activities to develop oral language strategies, the importance of oral language. We also had the opportunity to look at how students or children and babies acquire language, both L1 language and L2 language, which is either English or French, depending on the choices of the family. So the subtopics under those were importance of oral language development, first and second language acquisition, essential components for literacy development. So those were our big topics in there. And our assessment task really took us to stress that one, especially for first and second language, where our assessment task 1, the essay writing. We looked at some theories that supported the language acquisition and how we can use those theories to help us develop or continue to develop literacy using the ADEMAP slow. So we looked at Vygotsky, Bianche's theory, and a few more. And I believe with that research, it had assisted you to see how you can use some of those theories to continue to develop literacy in your class. Then the other one was reading and the reading program. So I remember, and you may remember from teacher training, we all looked at the balanced reading. So we had the balanced reading program, which has the read aloud, shared reading, guided reading, and the independent reading. However, I remember that one of the things that you may find it very interesting, and some people have done a lot of discussions on that during forum discussion, was the essentials, the essential component of a reading instruction. Okay, so reading program, which is shared reading, guided reading, independent reading, those are the methods of teaching reading. Whereas one of those methods of reading program should put emphasis on some of the times you spend in it to highlight the essential components of reading instructions, which are phonemic awareness, phonics, comprehension, fluency, vocabulary. There are 5. So we have 5 reading instruction components that should be encouraged and should be used in any reading method, which are shared reading. So, which basically means if you are doing a shared reading with a big book, don't just ask questions. You should be helping explaining new vocabularies. You should be looking at the sound focus, maybe of the book, so that you are doing you are helping students practice sounds, phonemic and phonics. And you should also be doing some reading fluency strategies, such as repeated reading. Okay, so for that, I think that's also something a bit new for some people. Reading instruction components, we have 5. Phonics, phonemic, fluency, vocabulary, comprehension. Okay, maybe traditionally and long practice that you've been doing, you are only doing the shared reading, maybe doing small vocabulary, but you're doing a lot of questioning. What is the title of the story? What do you think? What do you think the story will be about when you're looking at the cover? Maybe that's basically what we're doing traditionally. But after this course, I believe that when you want to a shared reading next time, you will be spending some time to look at the phonics, the phonemic, the fluency, the vocabulary, as well as the comprehension questions that should go with it. Okay. We also looked at some comprehension strategies, knowing that when we are to ask questions, we ask questions beginning from low level to high level. And then we have the Bloom's leveling comes in there. So when we're doing a reading comprehension, asking questions to check for understanding, we're not always asking, what is the title of the story? We can also ask questions such as, how could you solve the problem if you were one of the characters? That is how the thinking questions. So for comprehension questions to help develop our minds, we are also encouraged to plan good questions. Questions ranging from low-level thinking to high-order thinking questions, as well as asking questions starting with the question word, okay? Not putting why and what at the end of each question, okay? And then we had major topic 4, where we had the writing and the writing processes. So we had the writing method, we had the writing process. So the writing processes are pre-writing or brainstorming, drafting, revising and editing, proofreading, and publishing, and of course, presentation. That I believe it's not very new. And we also had the writing methods. We have shared writing, we have guided writing, we have independent writing, and we have immersion and modeled writing. So in each method, for example, if we are doing a shared writing, in that shared writing, we should be doing a shared brainstorming, a shared drafting, a shared revising and editing, a shared proofreading, and then we have a shared publication or publishing. So each method should have all the processes to be done in it. Okay. We also looked at genre-based approach, and for that, that is now a big and a huge thing for the Vanuatu schools, because our national curriculum has a genre-based approach for the development of literacy. Okay, so if we're doing recount for 3 weeks, then in that recount, we should be assisting our students to go through the processes, plus they should also be given opportunities where they have a model, the teacher models how to write a recount. Then they should have opportunities where together as a class, we write a recount. And they should also be given opportunities where as smaller groups of people, they get the support from their peers to create a recount, and then they'll be expected to be writing a recount on their own. Okay? As we are all teachers and we're all using the teacher's guide, we could see that the recount maybe runs for 3 or 4 weeks. Therefore, all the writing processes should be implemented and all the writing methods should be implemented. We have to do that to encourage people to go out as independent writers and to write for lifelong purposes. Then we had major topic 5, which is teaching grammar in context. Okay, basically teaching grammar in context defines the title. If we are to teach any grammatical things such as punctuation, okay, a sentence structure, we are to teach them within topics. Okay, in context, for example, if we're teaching a recount, that is our text of the week, we will do all the writing approaches and the writing processes, even the reading, all of those will be based on the recount. For us to teach the grammar, we have to teach, if we're teaching punctuation, we should and we are encouraged to use the text of the week to teach punctuation marks. Or we are to pick up sentences from the recount to teach sentence structures regarding purposes and its organization. And then we have major topic 6, which is the Balanced Literacy Program, where you might have already read about what is it that happens, or a little bit of history of the balanced literacy, where we have the reading war. So the reading war is a big war that was going on to decide which approach is best to teach reading. So we have the whole language approach versus the phonics instruction. Some people believe that teaching the phonics instruction will help students to read better, while others believe that the whole language approach is a better way of teaching reading. As a result of that, we could see that people who went on whole language approach had students struggling when they had to, do the decoding of words or to try and pronounce words. They needed the phonics instruction. Therefore, as a result of the reading war, which runs between whole language and phonics space, as a result of that, we have the birth of balanced literacy. And a balanced literacy is to emphasize that in your 2 hours teaching, or in our 2 hours teaching, and in around 10 days to 15 days of the literacy, we are to encourage students by giving them some time to develop features of the phonics space approach, which is phonological awareness, oral language, phonemic, and all of those. And then further to that, we encourage the reading and the writing. So as a result of that, we have the balanced literacy and the balanced literacy block timetable. So I believe you must have seen the block timetable now. See that there are 30 minutes for the oral language and the phonological phonics and sight words and high frequency words. So for the first 30 minutes of each day, we are to encourage students with those strands of the oral language, okay? And then we have the next 15 minutes on the block timetable where you are encouraged to help students discover the language of the topic. So for recount, what languages do we use? Okay. The reason why we have phonological, phonemic, and that earlier, so it can impact when they are speaking about the language of the topic. Okay. Then after that 30 minutes, we have reading of poems, 5 to 10 minutes. And then we have the reading, shared reading 1, then we have shared reading 2 on Tuesday. And then we have handwriting and other developmental activities. So as teachers, when we see that timetable, we know and we should know that, okay, so this is the way the timings and the slots of the components of literacy. They're put in that order because they are needed to develop each other. Okay? When we acquire language, we do acquire oral language prior to being able to read and read. So when we have the times, the time spread of each day, we always start with our oral language. And maybe for some of us, we just, straight on to experience with a topic. That may be part of our tradition. It may be you may have observed some challenges where people struggle, maybe pronouncing words better. Therefore, we add to the first 15 minutes earlier is to spend time to make some sounds, get some practices on sounds so that with that command, it should influence the way we pronounce words, maybe. Or if it is side words, it will help influence the words that we will see later in reading. Okay, so that is why it started. It is important to start the first 15 minutes. Then we go to experience with language of the topic, which is still oral. Then we'll go down to reading. If we don't spend time looking at the side words or high frequency words, and if we do not spend time looking at the sounds of the words, sounds that will come up in the words, then the challenge will be evident when we are moving down into the reading and the writing part. Okay, so that is just a summary of all the things that we have done throughout this course, literacy, teaching and learning. I believe with what you have learned through this course that you will put into practice, so that you will experience improvement, or students will experience improvement and development further in the literacy, teaching and learning in the classroom. Okay, so I've just done a brief summary of the course. If anyone has any further questions, I am willing to help. If you want to maybe later on email me separately and privately, you are most welcome to do so. I remind you, this is our week 14. Next week is week 15. After week 16 is 9th of December. Around 9th of December, you won't see any drop boxes. But if you have any bigger issues, if you communicate earlier, you may have other options to do any submission. Okay, on that note, let me stop and maybe give you another 5 minutes if you want to ask me any question. Okay, looks like there's no question. Can I just quickly, if it's okay, I'll just mention people whom you are here now with me that I feel I should pass some messages. I mean, not some, but a few. Okay, so Kissel Edwin, I don't seem to get your essay, assessment task 1. Mr. Edwin, if you are listening, do communicate to me after this, but I've gone into the Dropbox and I don't seem to locate your assessment task 1, but I have received assessment, your video and your lesson plan. Let me see who else is here. Deborah, I have, Deborah, I think I've got your assessment task 1. Deborah. Yeah, I think I've got assessment task 1, Deborah. Yes, I've got assessment task 1. I haven't seen any video of yours, you recording yourself, so I did not see any of that video. And I don't think I've seen any lesson plan and reflection 1. I mean, yeah. So do communicate to me if you think Mrs. Simo is giving the wrong information here. And a few people here. Linges, if you have anything to communicate to me. Yes. Let's just see. No. Nettie, I've got things from you. Nettie, Regina, Diane, and Edwin. So I've got things from you, except that not everything is coming. So maybe you'll, as soon as we finish here, I'll start seeing lots of messages coming in, maybe through the email. Otherwise, have we got others besides you there? I mean, other people who are with you sharing your device to view this Zoom that if I can help? Okay, no more. Are there people, are you going to talk or not talk? Okay, Deborah.
Thank you, Mrs. Simo. I think you are right. I haven't submitted my video and the lesson planning yet, but I will work on that as we are coming at the end of the year and we are quite busy with the schools. But I will have time to do that before the due date. Thank you.
Excellent, Deborah. You have until 9th of December. Yes,
thank you.
Good, pleasure.
Yes.
Linges. Okay, Linges, yes.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Simo. Apologize for not getting on time, but because we started in late. And I think I've submitted my assignment 1 lately, maybe yesterday or the day before. And the reflection 1, I think I've submitted that. If you can check that one. Part 1, but part 2 not yet. And I haven't done the sounds yet on my recording. I'll do that. But since this is the end of the year and we get very busy with our test, but hopefully I'll get onto that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. That's the communication I want. Yes, I do understand, and being a teacher on the field, I do understand. I just need that communication. Thank you, Linges and Deborah. Anyone else? I do expect the response of delay. My understanding is that some people started on time, some people started a bit late, and that's understood. But I need to know who started really late. I might be disadvantaging people. That's why I need people to communicate. Okay. Okay, if there's no more, thank you, Linges and Deborah. I will message you as soon as I'll check Linges and then I'll message to confirm receiving assessment task 1 and assessment task 3 part A. I will do that. Okay. Otherwise, if there are no more questions. I thank you all. As I've said, this will be my last Zoom session with you all. I thank you all for being part of this course. And if you had learned things that are new, please put them and implement them to help our children, the future human resource of this country, to continue to develop in their education and to progress through education. I will definitely see you again next year for part of this course, which is assessment, the assessment part of it. So this time around, we are doing literacy, teaching and learning. Next year, we will be doing literacy assessment and evaluation. How could we assess the strands that we've gone through this year? So if you are still here and I am, and we are all still here till next year, we will definitely see one another. For now, may I just give me my early Christmas wishes. I wish you all a Merry Christmas, prosperous New Year. Take care of yourself, and we'll see each other if God's will. Thank you so much for our time together. Bye. Okay.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Nettie. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mrs. Simo.
Thank you.